Hey everybody, welcome to Season 5, Episode 16 of The Hard Truth Inside the Football History Podcast with me, Philip Ideson, and Darren MacAnthony, Chairman and owner of Peterborough United. It's been a couple of weeks while we've been off for the Christmas and the New Year period, watching a lot of football, some of us having a better week, a better Christmas than others. We were just talking about that, which makes a nice change. Well, it doesn't make a nice change for you. It makes a nice change for me that we actually got some wins.
It's great. When we last spoke, it was like sparks out, this person out. Yeah. Bradford was there. I even had someone email me and go, "Oh, it's like Groundhog Day on the pod." Bradford aren't winning. Bradford should be winning. The fans want to listen. Fantastic for Bradford. Delighted for you. You look like you got the bit between your teeth. You look like you're ready for that promotion you've been craving. Yeah. So it's all set up to go. Great turnaround. And before we get into Peterborough, let's quickly talk Bradford. What was behind the turnaround over Christmas?
I think a couple of injuries coming back. So Alex Patterson coming back from injury, Sarcevic coming back from injury. We looked a bit strong. We looked more dangerous going forward. Just more of a kind of cohesive unit, if you will. And we've been missing, like, those are two of the big players that we've put a lot of. We've invested a lot of money in those, and a lot of, they're going to be part of getting us out of this division. And they've both been injured for most of, Patterson's been injured for most of his 18 months with us so far. So, they make the difference. And, we always talk about momentum. We're a very streaky team. You kind of win a bunch, then you don't win in 7, and then you start on another run again. So,
but it's wide open. I mean, League Two is so wide open. I mean, how many points are you off the top 3?
It's like 3. Let me have a look. There was after our game on, because we had the early game on what was it? I lose track of my days now. Saturday. So before everybody else kicked off, we were there in the playoffs. Right now we are 8th on 38 points, and 3rd is 42. So we're 4 points off 3rd.
It's wide open. Did I see Salford have gone into the top 3?
Yeah, that's who's 3rd. So you got
phenomenal.
Yeah, you got Walsall on 52, Crewe on 42, Salford on 42. Then it goes down to us in 8th on 38.
Yeah, listen, Walsall have won the league. Fair play to them. Absolutely rip-roaring.
They lost a couple of their own players. I don't know whether that would hurt them or not.
They've got money. They've got some very good players. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They've got an owner with a few quid. I think Walsall are up. I know that sounds premature, but with this, if you look at the difference from 1st to 4th, I think they're up. So we play them in the EFL Trophy next week. So, good challenge. Obviously the best team in League Two so far. Good team.
Now, has that come from nowhere, or did you have an expectation that they'd be strong this season?
I like the recruitment in the summer. I think the manager's done brilliant. I think they've got some very good pieces. Yes, they're losing some good loan players, but I think when you're that far ahead, the momentum set in. They're all believing now, and I think they'll get more players in, and they're not selling players. Because they've obviously got, like, I think an owner that's got involved, and they've got some money. So no, fair play to them. They're cooking and they're good to go. So, and hopefully Bradford now can follow on and kick on in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, we lost to Notts County just before Christmas. That was after the last pod. 3 goals in 3 minutes. And then from there, we beat Port Vale on Boxing Day 2-1. We beat Chesterfield 2-1. We drew 2-2 away at Barrow, which could have been a loss, could have been a defeat. We were 1-0 up, threw that away to be losing 2-1 ridiculously. But could have lost, but came back to 2-2, and then relatively easy 3-1 against Grimsby on Saturday as well. So
phenomenal.
All with Andy Cook going down injured. So
Stop bragging.
Yeah, well, I mean, he went down in the 3rd minute against Barrow. We had Andy Cook taken off after 3 minutes. They had a man taken off after 9 minutes. I don't know if the pitch was fit for play or what was going on there, but they still haven't announced what his injury is. The worry is it's his ACL.
At his age.
They're waiting for all the scans to come back. I mean, he walked. He hobbled down off the,
that means nothing. That means nothing. I've had a player continue playing with an ACL.
Yeah.
The adrenaline sometimes, it's only the swelling the day afterwards when the swelling's gone down and they can get into the knee. So let's say a prayer for Andy Cook, because he's obviously been your talisman for so long. And it'd be horrible to lose him at his age, and ACL at that age coming back from it. Jesus.
That's what you got to think, if that's at 34 doing your ACL, if that's what he has done. But we'll see, we'll see what comes out. But on the positive, we adapted well without him. at the weekend, and it will force us to play a different style of football. And
we spoke about it. You're going to eventually have to get away from being reliant on that one big target man with experience. So maybe it opens up the playbook, as we say in the NFL world. Maybe you'll be different. Maybe you've got some good attacking threats. I've said I've liked some of your players that you've got. So it'll be exciting. Yeah. Do you think now that everything's settled down, that there's not a desperate need to sign players? Because I always feel when you're flying, maybe you don't necessarily need to upset the apple cart and bring in new personalities in the dressing room.
I think that there's we've signed a couple. We've signed Brandon Keller from Birmingham, who I don't really know anything about, defensive centre midfielder. We signed George Lapsley from Gillingham. We've certainly gotten an overabundance of attacking midfielders at the moment. We probably do need a striker. Even before Andy Cook went down, Ollie Sanderson and Kavanagh just haven't really been doing it this season for whatever reason. And so I think that we needed something else up top, assuming that we had Andy Cook, but without him, even if it's a different style of play, I think we'll be looking for somebody.
Okay. Well, it'll be. What kind of January have you got team-wise, fixture-wise?
We've got Villa under 21s in the EFL Trophy, which is actually going to be at Villa Park.
Good.
Then we got Carlisle away and then Walsall at home. So bottom and then top.
Okay. So look, I think this might be finally the year. So let's see, and let's pray that well, I still pray for the Posh Bradford EFL Trophy podcast final, the Hard Truth final. But let's see, you know what I mean. But fantastic for Bradford fans, and hopefully just keep everyone calm and see where it goes.
Well, that as soon as we lose, everybody will be everybody out again. But
don't start with the outs and don't start with the losing, because I've done far too much losing at the end of 2024. So we're done with that.
I had to laugh when you came into this call, and for anybody who's watching on video, the name that you put up is DMAC in, having done a podcast last night that you did where you called yourself DMAC out. Yeah,
it's called the PoshCast, I think it's called. Yeah. They did their own podcast, so fair play to them. They asked me 3 months ago or whatever to come on. So, timing's everything, right? You're losing games left, right, and centre, and you're suddenly on a fan spot where, some of the fan base that maybe listen to that podcast probably are a little bit not anti-Darragh, but not exactly pro-Darragh. But no, they were fair and they were fine. They were okay, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. And I hope it helped boost their figures. And, I was me being honest and basically, I don't hide from questions. I don't hide from, we've been stinking the place out results-wise, do you know what I mean? And, we certainly, after such a good 2024 to end it so badly, it's just irritating. And, and I was explaining last night that, yes, I'd like to blame injuries, but it's not just injuries, it's loads of things. And we just have to, get going in 2025. And, I'm still the eternal optimist, and I'm sure, we're going to turn it around, and we're going to turn it around in style. That's the wish, because, I know some of those new players have taken a while to adjust. Some of the previous players that were best players in the league last year haven't quite been at that standard, but I feel very confident we have to put it together. And, I got a massive meeting tomorrow with pretty much every single member of staff on the football side of things at the ground after I do a sponsors meeting. I'm leaving here at 5:30 in the morning. We got 8 a.m. interview with Posh Media, 8:30 sponsors, and then obviously in with all the staff for about 3 hours. And we're just going through everything. We're tearing everything upside down as regards to the last 5 months, about expectations for the next 5 months, the next couple of windows, aims for the rest of the season, building towards obviously next year then. So lots to get into. And but it's been, it's not been good. We had a shitty Christmas. It was weird because we had a really good week where we beat Crawley and then hammered Northampton in the EFL Trophy. And then just straight off the bat, we lose to Stockport, we lose to Mansfield, we lose to Barnsley. We played better against who was it away? Burton away. Yeah. Then we go and we played pretty well against Wrexham. When you're having issues, when things aren't going your way, you dig out losses instead of digging out wins. And you dig out losses you don't deserve. Like the Wrexham game is a 50-50 game. There were patches we were really good. We defended really well, which hasn't been our strong point, obviously. Yeah. And then it's the usual, don't stop a cross, don't mark the man properly in the box. And it's like 87 minutes, you feel like you've wasted 90-odd minutes of your life, and you lose the game. So, it's just been a bit too much like that. It's happened to us at Bolton. We have to turn that the other way. We have to be the team that score in the 88, 89 minute and dig out and get that win and then kick on. And we have to start being ourselves again. We haven't been ourselves for a while. I'm seeing signs. I saw signs against Burton. I saw signs against Wrexham. We have to be ourselves, dominate possession, be creative, have pace, have width, score goals. We have to get back to that. We get obsessed with the clean sheets. We get obsessed with how shit we are defensively. We get obsessed about we need new defenders. We get obsessed about an experienced defender will change everything. You know, what about we just go out and do our jobs? What about we get out and just show our identity and get back to being who we are? Because who we are is what gave us a tremendous last year, a tremendous year before, where we had 2 years in a row in the playoffs. We had EFL trophy success. We scored more goals than anyone in 2024. That's who we are. And we have to now give these youngsters and a young team, take that pressure off and go, there's your freedom to go out and express yourself again, regardless of what everyone's saying and how shit we are and where we are in the league and the doom mongers and people who are just falling into the negative mindset. We can't fall into that mindset. We have to stick to the message. What's the message? We want to play a certain way. What's the second message? We want to outscore the opposition. What's the third message? We want to rack up wins. You know, what's the fourth message? We want to have a great second half of the season, and then we want to build for next season to do something we've never done, which is to win a title. So we have to get going on all those things. And yes, there'll be some signings in January, but at the end of the day, you know, you don't go out and sign 11 new players. That just doesn't happen. And we don't need to sign 11 new players. We just signed a brilliant right back who we feel, you know, we've been missing the last 2 windows. That's a big tick that we had to get in a very good right back who's going to compete with JD over the next 2-3 seasons, which will solidify one area of the team. We still believe we've got some great central defenders at the club, but it doesn't look that way collectively together. But individually, there's some very, very good players there. And, you know, I'll give you an idea. One of the clubs at the top of League One bid for one of our centre-backs. So you think this team who don't keep clean sheets, who are like shit defensively or whatever else, rang Barry, made a bit, and I was just like, it's not happening. It's not happening. Like, it's not happening. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's not me trying to pitch or sell a player. It's just, you know, no, because we
people see the value that you've got in the players. It's been missing and bringing it all together.
Yeah, correct. You know, losing Rio for the season is just a body blow. You know, losing him in the summer was a body blow. You know, all those things, trying to sign a experienced centre half. But like I said last night in the PoshCast thing, you know, you get to the point now, because you're 19th or wherever we are in the league, people aren't interested. They want to go to promotion teams. They want to, you know, we're not used to that in League One. We're used to being those one of the top 6 getting players in and want to come and win a promotion. So there's a little bit of like chip on my shoulder over that now, where we're like getting turned down, you know, by players going, a bit like being in the champ. And I'm just not having that in League One. I get we're not in a good position, but what we do for players in their careers, it should be an honour to come and play. And the way we play, there's always eyes on us. And you know, so that kind of irritates me. And a couple of clubs who are having like an Indian summer, who wouldn't usually in League One, they're having like to see. And I'm not talking about the top of League One, by the way. I'm talking about even, you know, we're like getting a bit arrogant about things. Going, well, you know, you're not having a great season. Is that player available? Knowing full well they couldn't afford that player. Knowing full well that player wouldn't go to them. And it's kind of like, okay, I see you. I've been doing this 19 years. Like, I see you. You can have your fun at the moment. Why, you know, we're obviously not doing well, and you can kick us in the nuts. But what's the best way to respond? Win.
Yeah.
Win. Just win. As Adrian said to Rocky Balboa in Rocky 2 at the end, when she woke up from her coma and she leaned into his ear and just said, win. That's all that matters. So, you know, there's a bit of inspiration for you. You know, we just have to win.
It's interesting when people talk about, well, you got to sign an experienced centre back, let's say, and you know, you just signed Carl Johnson, as you said, from Fleetwood, 22 years old, but has over 100 appearances.
Brilliant
so for
player.
you, experience, you know, maybe putting words into your mouth, but experience doesn't mean age. Experience means, you know, how many games they've got under their belt and what level that they played.
Yeah, correct. And you just need a good player. And I'm not against, like, we've tried to sign an experienced 33-year-old centre back. You know, as much as we're young and hungry and we decided to go this route, that's what the manager wanted. And I've tried. We're trying. He's trying. I'm trying. You know, but like I said to you, those players tend to go to the top of League One because they want to win a promotion. So we're trying. But at the end of the day, if we can't, this is what we've got. Is what we've got. So our players have to dig themselves out and get winning. And you know, we revisit what the needs are in the summer. You know, so yeah, we're in for a left back and we're in for a centre back. And there are a couple of key things that we need to clean up, and there'll be players leaving as well. So we feel these 2 windows are going to be really, really good and very important for the rebuild to be finished. And we feel that we want to, you know, the targets would be, you know, fly up that table in the second half of the season, win the EFL trophy, and set ourselves up where we go into the summer only needing 2 or 3 more pieces in the summer when some players have left, that we don't need to sign 7, 8, and we're going to have a really, really, really fucking good squad next year. So, you know, and the players who come in this year will have a year under their belt and will be a year better on. A lot of them are younger players who are fucking incredibly talented, and there's a lot of upside in them. So I'm excited. I still am excited, as madly as that sounds.
Do you feel that some of the, you've talked about desire and well, throwing yourself in front of the ball and that concentration and things, is that coachable from, so that this time next year those same players will be doing the things that you maybe expecting from them now, but they're maybe a little bit younger in their development?
I'm seeing those improvements already, and I think it's always important you see improvements. I'm seeing Hector and Archie getting back to their best. I'm seeing Con Clark is getting the keys to the team and is ready to lift off. We've got Gustav, the Swedish dynamo, about to come in and play. I'm seeing at the back, I'm seeing players like Manny. George Nevitt's going to be some player for us next year. There's no doubt in my mind. We have to work on his physicality. He's 18. We will do that. Once he adds 10 pounds of muscle, and starts to, but he's one of the, if you look at the statistics, he's actually one of the best one-on-one defenders, believe it or not. You know what I mean? Even though people say, well, he gets beaten up because he's too skinny. So much upside there. I think Manny, year 2, next year, after being a first teamer this year, we win and do well in the second half, he'll be unplayable next year. I think the Swede, who started well and then dropped off, having a proper break in the summer and a pre-season, having adjusted from Sweden to League One standard, and then we'll get a fourth centre half in. So I think we'll have Rio in the summer finally back after a horrendous year with his knee. You're going to have young Harley Mills. We'll potentially have another left back if Jack Sparks leaves. So, and I think the goalie, he's starting to show as well now. He was very good against Wrexham, young Nick. He dominated his box. He did all that. That was a team that's difficult to play against. That was expecting everything gets peppered at you. I thought he was excellent. There's a player in there. And behind him, Will Blackmore's had a really, really good season, away from the cameras, away from the first team. 21 games. He's lost a lot of weight. He's focused. He had a lot of issues last year. He lost his dad, God bless him. There's a player in there. So we feel that there's so many good things can happen. As bad as it seems, we're 19th and we're this and we're that and we're whatever else. There are real signs there. If you'd gone back a couple of years ago and looked in the squad, and well, Harrison wasn't playing and Ronnie wasn't maybe playing as much, and some of those players, now you go, okay, look at them now 2 years later. So I just feel we'll make that step. I know people want to say it's shit recruitment, it's this, that, whatever. We feel very confident about the upside in those players, and even players like Keane at the moment. He's trying to fill in for 𝗛𝗵 𝗀𝗃, which is an impossible task. If you ask him to play in goalie, I love his character, I love his spunk. He played left wing back on Saturday. He was brilliant for 87 minutes, and then they switched him to right wing, and you thought he's fucked. And there he is trying to dribble and run past people. He's got something. Yeah. So so I'm like, and you think then next year a player like Malik, suddenly becomes a leader in the team, growing up a little bit more. There's a lot to be positive about, you know what I mean? So as much as it feels horrendous, you look at a squad and you look at what you're building and the building blocks. We've got the right staff, we've got the right manager, everything's in place to go. We've just had a horror show of a season, in so many ways, and lots of that's our fault, and lots of that's injuries related. So you lose potentially the best left back in the league. You lose the best central midfielder in the league in Hector for pretty much 70% of the season so far. And you lose then 𝗛𝗵 𝗀𝗃 at the start of December with an important run in games when he's absolutely dominating League One. Those are body blows. So, and they're body blows we have yet to recover from and will recover from.
How is Darren being? Kind of
brilliant, brilliant, really good challenge. He's seen it. I'm looking him in the eye. I'm just speaking to him just there. Brilliant. Like, sees the challenge, sees what we need to do, sees the second half of the season, and then sees next year as the icing on the cake if we get the second part of this season right. So no, he's really good, and I'll be in there with the staff and him tomorrow. The blood, the flow, the juice will be flowing. And maybe we're going to scream at each other a little bit tomorrow. We're going to you know what I mean, and get into that room and analyze the last half of the season, and then talk about the next half and blood and guts and thunder, because that's the way we do it, and I like it that way. And there'll be some, truth spoken from me, from them. You know what I mean? And then we'll come out of that with the right idea and what we want to do for the next 20 odd games and what we want to do in the summer. So that's the way it should be. We're all aligned. We all want to win. You know what I mean? And we need to clean up stuff and we need to improve. So he's been brilliant. Really, really good.
And so just to kind of finish on outgoings, you said before, you really need some outgoings before you can bring some in.
Sure.
In the press has been reported about Joe Randall as potentially going. You mentioned Jack Sparks. I think that was in the press as well as a potential. Can you just talk a little bit about your thinking on those two?
Wage cap. wage cap. We need to, be clinical in the next couple of windows. Joel, we've accepted a bid for him. We feel Con Clark now. I love Joel. He's one of the best players in League One. So at the end of the day, he should have gone in the summer. He didn't. I gave him a new contract, so I won't stand in his way now. We've accepted a deal. It's up to him to agree terms. Jack Sparks, it just hasn't quite come off. He's a great lad. He's a great guy. Moved his family locally. You feel bad about that, but the manager looks at his squad and goes, well, I need to make space, and some of the bigger hitters need to go out, and I need to free up wages because if I want to bring an experienced centre half in, if I want to bring this player in, the right back wasn't cheap. There are all those things you look at, so we had to pay a substantial fee for him, and if the manager wants a new left back now, Rio's missing to the end of the season, well, the one area that there's big wages is Jack Sparks, and he's just a victim of that, Centre back wise, the same with Romany. We'll have to go out and David Ajiboye, and I think Romany. I was asked a question about Romany last night, and I was like, next question. I think Romany saw that and probably took that the wrong way. What I was trying to do was not speculate in current players. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't meant as a dig at him because I think he's a lovely character and a lovely guy. It was meant solely that I didn't know what was going on with him. I only found out today he's actually back with us, or a couple of days ago, and B, I know Barry's been talking to his agent and clubs and whatever else about getting him a league club because, he's a good enough player to play in the league. And he went out, fair play to him, to play at Dagenham to get game time. And I like that in someone's character. So if he's listening, that wasn't meant,
last time we mentioned his name, it all blew up with everybody in, Bradford City fans.
Look, there's a player in there. Whether it hasn't worked out from with us, the manager or whatever else, regards doesn't want to use him or play him, that's fine. But there's a player in there, and there's a player who can play League One football, not the top of League Two. So I hope he gets a good move. I hope a good club comes in for him. So he deserves it because he's a good egg. He's a good character. And, I want that to happen for him. So, it's just freeing up cap space. It's making sure that we have the space to be able to sign who we need in this window and next window. Because eventually we're going to have to replace Hector. We're going to have to replace 𝗛𝗏. There's a couple of bigger pieces that are going to be needed. So you sit down and say to the manager, well, look, that's what we got free. I can't get the right back done unless we move him. I can't get you a new left back unless he goes. I can't get you another centre half maybe unless they go. Everyone thinks like you hide behind financial fair play. This is the reality and truth. The EFL will embargo us. We get embargoed if we haven't got the space to do those moves. So, the boy going back to Sheffield United allowed us to get the Fleetwood deal done. Otherwise, we would have been embargoed. So, unfortunately...
And you get embargoed, it takes away all your negotiating leverage for getting...
It really difficult. And people think, oh, well, Peter brought in millions and and he's talking... No, we pay good wages. We pay fees. That's why... You have a FFP. It's why we haven't got loads of space. It's why other clubs maybe can get in 5 loans if they want to because they haven't spent to the level we have. So, and the other thing as well is we've spent tremendously last summer. We're going to do it again in January. And we have to have a couple of years without heavy spending. So we have a good squad ready to go. I said to the manager in December, no more of this 4 or 5 out needed to go. No more 7 or 8 are in. We got to get back to a little bit of reliability, consistency, familiarity amongst the players pre-season. You bring in that many new people into camps. I know I'm not a fan of it. He's not a fan of it. We needed a good January. Like a couple of years ago, we signed Jack Taylor. We signed Sammie Szmodics. We signed a couple of other players. It was Reece Brown and one other. Great start with CJ from Fleetwood. We need a couple of other good signings like that. And then in the summer, then you just add the cherry on the cake with a couple of key more ones. And then you're good to go squad-wise, we feel. So we've got a lot of work on and off the pitch from now until the summer.
Do you feel that timing is the essence, with the run of form you've got in, perhaps needing a couple of new bodies to freshen things up or bring some new motivation? Or
a bit of both. But I'm still very confident, though. I liked what I saw against Burton. Defensively, it was shit the first 10 minutes and the goals we conceded, but I think we can clean that up. I liked what I saw against Wrexham. I think, of course, confidence takes a blow when you get battered by Mansfield and you get battered, obviously, at home. But I honestly think the players, there's a lot of talent in there. They've won some big games this year and big scores. They have that ability. And I think the reset after Everton will come where we're good to go and let's go, regardless who we bring in or don't bring in. I think now, I'd love to see CJ play behind 𝗛𝗏 𝗧𝗿𝗂𝘁. You'd have the best right back playing behind the best right winger in our league. I mean, 𝗛𝗏's not back till the end of February, but I just think that signing, if we can do another one on the left, I think we'll be in a really good place where the manager can maybe go back to 4-2-3-1 instead of having to play 3 at the back at the moment. So I think that's important as well. So let's see.
So you got Everton on Friday. Is it Friday? Because
Thursday night.
Thursday night. How are you going into that one?
Free shot. I've got a lot of meetings happening. I'm going there. If I didn't have meetings, I probably wouldn't go. I'm more concerned about the following week, the EFL Trophy game at Walsall, Leyton Orient at home. There, for me, I get killed for saying that, but I've been 19 years here. We've never done well against the big dogs in the cup. I'm not expecting this season to be the outlier. We're playing a Premier League team. I hope the players enjoy it. I don't want us to overplay them as we've got an important game 4 days later. It'll be great for our fans. So I think we've got nearly 3,000 fans going. I got some big meetings happening with people coming from the States to see me and stuff. A lot of planning to do with other stuff, not just team related. So I'm kind of like at that point where I'll go there on Thursday. I'll stay overnight. I'll watch the game. It'll be great to knock a big old Premier League ground off, tick it off the list. And, and let's see. I mean, knowing our luck, we'll probably get our first clean sheet since the old king died and then get knocked out in penalties. So isn't
that why we love football so much? Things like that can happen.
Yeah, listen, that ain't going to happen. But, at the end of the day, I think for some of our players that are our players, your Donny O'Briens and your James Donnellys and your, other players, I think for them to get some minutes to go against the best in the country, you have a bigger bench as well. So no doubt young Tyler Young, if his dad plays there, he'll probably be on the bench. I'm not picking the team, but I'd be amazed if he wasn't. It'll be interesting. So let's see. It's a free shot. Let's try and play with freedom. Let's not go there and try and keep a clean sheet, because that's just not something that works for us very well. Our best form of attack is just all-out attack. So let's just play to our strengths. That's who we are. All of this getting caught up with clean sheets and breaking records for having clean sheets and defensively shit. Let's just go and fucking score goals, because we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to get to a shootout mentality here. If we want to rise up through the league, we're going to have to start putting some serious darts on the board. And that's not about trying to nick 1-0 wins or whatever else. We're just going to have to go out and play to our strength. Our strength is attacking, scoring goals.
Yeah.
Do that well enough early on, you'll keep clean sheets. So that's what we need to do. I'm not saying that's going to happen at Everton, by the way, but I would definitely endorse play 4 strikers against Everton.
You saying, you're talking down the chances, which is, very, I think, wise to do so. But on the other hand, I've seen one thing that we've done well is we've had some giant killings in the cup.
Yeah,
so
you guys, that what happened to Chelsea and all those games you got to the cup. Listen, like I said, 19 years I've been doing this. I get excited. The only thing close to a giant killing for us was going to Villa and winning away when they were in the champ. And that was the biggest result in 19 years in FA Cups. Other than that, every game I've ever watched is over after 10 minutes. Yeah. Where we felt we had a chance. We have Leicester at our place. They were going to rest some players 3-0 down, 12 minutes in. We got West Brom. We got whoever 3-0 down after 20 minutes. Game over, dream over. So I maybe I'm just a little bit battered and bruised from previous cups, So
maybe we just got lucky and have a
I don't know. Record. Maybe it was just Parky's way of playing football. Yeah. Maybe it just worked. Maybe who knows? Who knows? I don't know. At the end of the day, I'd love to wake up on Friday and have caused the shock, around world football. But I just, you just don't see it, do you, against the Premier League club, regardless whether Everton are struggling.
Right.
It's still a Premier League club.
Yeah, that gap gets bigger and bigger.
And Sean Dyche should be looking at the way we've conceded goals and be licking his fucking lips. You know what I mean? Get 30 crosses into the box or whatever. So look, I need Manny to be a man-mountain man of the match and then pop up with a winner in the 90th minute from a set piece. that's
no silly mistakes passing around the back.
I don't mind that. I endorse that. I have no problem with that. I go the other way on that. I have no issue at all. I hate when we concede a goal because we don't stop a cross. I hate when we concede a goal because our defender, like in Saturday against Wrexham, I forget who it was Jadel, got beaten in the air by Fletcher. Yeah. Yes, that's a tough call because it's Fletcher, but B, obviously I think Hector didn't stop the cross. So I hate those things. I have no problem with Jadel making a pass that leads to a goal for the other team, or Nevitt making a pass because we're trying to play the way we want to play. So I have no issue with that. I just have an issue when we actually don't defend. If you as a defender make an honest mistake, that's not you being a bad defender one-on-one against an attacker. That's come from your, trying to do things the right way. So I never have a problem with that. And I would always encourage and endorse my young players. If the manager wants you to play out from the back, play out from the back. So that's just, we'll die on that sword if that's the way the manager wants to play. I just fucking hate not stopping crosses and not winning headers.
Losing your man at a corner.
Right, and we've had one of my favorite players do that 3 games in a row before. He didn't do it on Saturday, but he'd done it 3 games previous. It was the same player who lost his man in 3 games for 3 goals. So that just can't happen. Now, to be fair, he was much better against Wrexham, so I think you know, at that stage, probably watching the video footage back during coaching sessions, it'd be like, you get embarrassed by that. So, yeah, look, Saturday we were much better defensively and all of that. And Wrexham was one of the best tests because they're so fucking good at getting that ball in the box, you know, set pieces, corners, you know. So Jez is doing a good job there. I can see glimmers of us being better at defending set pieces and corners. I can see glimmers of everyone feeling actually we're not as bad as everyone says. So let's see where it goes in Everton. So moving on.
All right, well, let's go around the leagues a little
Sure.
bit. Yesterday, as we record this on Monday, was Liverpool 2, Man United 2. You know, just when you think that Man United are down and you've got the a chance to really, you know.
I knew it. I knew it. All the headlines before. How many are we going to win by? The fans asking. Yeah. It's typical football. Been there so many times. Yeah, I didn't think, you know, Liverpool were great yesterday. But then again, that hasn't happened very often. You know, Slot's done such a good job, but I didn't think they were very good. And, you know, did they deserve to lose the game? No, but I think they were good. I thought Man United were excellent and Liverpool weren't at their level. Obviously, one player in particular absolutely had one of the worst afternoons of his life. He's one of my favourite players. That was Trent. Yeah, I'd have subbed him a lot sooner than he got subbed because he had an absolute stinker. So, but that happens. Young player had a stinker. Was it Real Madrid? I'm not sure. I just think he had a bad day at the office. So, you know, Curtis Jones, bad day at the office. You know, missed Szoboszlai. You know, it was just one of them games. And yeah, look, at the end of the day, if you play any football game and the odds are stacked in, you're going to win. And how many are you going to win by? You get a bloody nose. You get a kick in the nuts. The one thing they didn't do was they didn't lose. So onwards and upwards for Arnie and, you know, winning the league.
Yeah, you play badly and you draw against Man United. It's still, you know, that's not a bad result.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it certainly won't define our season. I think, you know, the next game, Forest, they need to go and win there. They want to win this league title. Forest are having the season of their lives. They've got to go and win there.
And Arsenal, who are now in second place, you have a game in hand over them. They got 40 points to your 46. They only got a draw as well at Brighton.
Brighton are a good team. Brighton are a very good team. They're a little bit fur coat, no knickers when it gets into the final third. But if they have someone putting, you know, if Brighton had a 30th season goal scorer, they'd be competing for the title. Some of the football they play is like unbelievable. I watched the game. I thought Brighton, the football they played, was better than Arsenal's. So that was interesting. But look, Arsenal are going to be there. How far are Man City out?
Man City are in 6th on 34, so they're 12 points off you, and they've played the game more.
I still have a feeling Man City will be second. I know that sounds weird. So, you know, I said they'd win by 10 points, but I think Pep will turn the corner. He had a good win at the weekend. Yep. I think they'll make a couple of key signings this month. And I think as they've traditionally done, they'll be much better in the second half of the season. So don't be surprised to see them do their usual win 15 in a row. So, and frighten the life out of everybody up there.
And a shout out for Sammie Szmodics scoring for Ipswich. Right. And it was really heartbreaking for them last minute.
Yeah.
Penalty. But, you know, they're making a fight of it now. So 16 points, same as Wolves, who managed to jump out of the relegation zone. Everton, pretty close. But
Ipswich should be fine. Ipswich should be fine. I think they'll fly in the second half of the season. I saw their win against Chelsea. I saw them yesterday. I think they've clicked out to win. I think they'll fly. I think they made another good signing yesterday. Great to see Sammie and Jack Taylor playing in the Premier League. It's just, I get emotional watching that, you know.
Jack Taylor score as well over the
he scored a winner, over Christmas, you know, things like that. So I'm so happy for those boys. They're great lads. And my manager has to take a lot of credit, you know, for like coaching those boys and seeing them play at the Prem level. I think Ronnie's gone out and loaned to QPR, so good for him. I think Harrison's one of the best left backs in the champ. So, you know, it's great. It just shows we do things right. And we improve those players and fair play. But no, I think Ipswich should be absolutely fine. Southampton look like they're done and dusted, don't they?
Yeah, and what a random, I mean, it seems to me a random hire in Ivan Juric as their manager. Lost the first 3. He only lasted 5 weeks at Roma beforehand. So, yeah, it's, I mean, the wheels have come off. They never really got started, have they? And that doesn't seem like the appointment that's going to turn it around.
No, they obviously, look, Wolves have made a good appointment and they've kicked on, haven't they, and flown, and that's kind of shown Gary O'Neill up a little bit. But the Southampton one would have been, do you take the risk and stay with Russell and go back up from the champ? Yeah. Or do we throw the dice and try and stay in the Premier League? I don't do their finances. At the end of the day, probably me, I would have stayed with Russell.
Yeah.
You know, and said, look, don't worry about the Prem. We'll go down, we'll win the championship, we'll come back up again and we'll be better for it. So you know, that might backfire if those he won't be there in a month if he loses another 3 or 4 games. So I'd imagine. Who else is down there? Brentford, by the way. How much are they flying? I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, wowee. I mean, they're scoring more goals than ever before since Ivan left, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm looking at Spurs down in 12th now, which...
yeah, but that's understandable. I mean, I've seen their injury list. I saw, look, I really like their manager.
Yeah.
I think Spurs will have a great second half of the season. I do. Newcastle are flying, by the way. So look out for them. Chelsea have started to stutter a little bit, which surprised me. So it's going to be an interesting league, but it's the usual suspects down near the bottom. I think Everton will crawl their way out. They're now got new ownership, so they're going to be in a good place. The Championship is the most exciting league for me, no?
Well, it's been a Saka-palooza, I think, the last few weeks in the Championship with all the managers that have gone as well. You look at 1 point between first and third with Leeds, Burnley, Sheffield United, Sunderland right below them, and then there's a bit of a gap, 9 points down to Middlesbrough. So at the moment, it's a battle between those four, and there's nothing really much in between them so far.
Yeah, no, I saw that, and I want Sheffield United to go up because we've got a million reasons on that. So, and Harrison's having a great season. I see Rooney got the tin tack, didn't he, as well at Plymouth?
He did.
So, yeah.
What I mean, it's no surprise based on, of course, we've talked about Rooney a lot and the opportunities that he's got, and perhaps his managerial chops. I guess hats off for him for going and trying. But
the national journalists sometimes embarrass themselves. Like a couple of them are writing articles going, Rooney should get another chance and did it. Then I'm like, well, I could give you 10 managers out of work at the moment who have a much better record and haven't had a chance at all. Yeah. Why does somebody like that get another chance? He's only getting another. You're only saying he should get another chance because he's Wayne Rooney.
Right.
So I don't agree with that. Like I said, I just think sometimes the smaller, lesser known names don't get the accolades, don't get the chance, that someone like that does, and that's unfair. But I will give him credit where he's traveling away from his family and will take any job, and I do like that about him. So fair play to him for that, having that side of him.
It's that football addiction, isn't it? You talk about the fact that once you're in the game, it's hard to to not be in the game anymore. So he's trying to find any way that he can to still be involved.
100%.
It's not about money, obviously.
No, it's not about money. I don't think it is about money. And I think he gave up money when he left Plymouth. He could have got a payoff. So I think from that point of view, I respect him for wanting to be a coach and a manager. I'm just not sure he'll ever make a good one. So, but he wants to keep going. So fair play to him. He's got a lot of money. He doesn't need to work. But he's traveling to Plymouth. He's staying in Plymouth. He's trying to look. Good luck to them. Do you know what I mean? So they're going to try and save their season now, I guess.
And Mark Robbins went to Stoke.
Good appointment.
Yeah,
good appointment. They've had a ropey few years. They've had a lot of managers. I think that's a good appointment. I think Mark may turn that around. What a massive club. He'll have a lot of support there financially, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, right now they're in 19th, only 4 points off the bottom three.
Yeah.
So, they've struggled.
They'll have no problem there. They'll fly up the table under him.
Did you think that Ronnie may go to someone higher up in the Championship, or is a good opportunity for him?
Yeah, I am surprised, but maybe he needs a bit of a dogfight. Maybe he needs to learn the art of nasty defending. Maybe that might suit him for 6 months. Maybe that'll work in his favour. Southampton will come down, and no doubt he'll be in their team next year. So, and then he'll be able to strut his stuff in the Championship and really get going in his career. He's still only 21. So, he's got a lot of upside, Ronnie, and he'll be a big part of the future of Southampton, I'd imagine.
Just looking up and down the rest of the results in the table. Alex Neil did he go back? No, he didn't go back to Millwall. He's not been at Millwall. He was at Preston, wasn't he? And then he's been out for a little while.
Good appointment.
Yeah.
Good appointment for Millwall. Decent Championship manager, knows what he's doing. I don't know. I don't know what Millwall's expectations are, but I think he'll do a good job regardless.
And I saw this morning that seemed seemingly random. Josh Windass rumored to have signed a deal with Santos.
I was messaging with him last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to know him a lot, you know what I mean, over the last few years. And I was messaging with him last night, so I won't say what he said. But yeah, right. I was saying, I see you're heading to Brazil soon or whatever. But he's having a great season. I think he's done brilliant in the Champ. I think he's underrated. I think he doesn't get enough recognition for what he's done. I think he's been one of Wednesday's best players the last couple of years. He's in the prime of his career, whether it's at Wednesday or somewhere else. He's probably a player who deserves his payday. He lives the right way off the field. He does things the right way. So, and he's a good character. So, and he's a good lad. So I just said to him, if you do end up heading out to Brazil, you know what I mean? Send me some tickets to go watch.
Right. And he scored the worldie, didn't he? From his
unbelievable goal. Yeah, but he's capable. I tried to sign him when he was 20 from Accrington Stanley. So, but he ended up going to Scotland. I tried to sign him and his teammate at the time, another young and hungry couple of players. So that's how we've ended up speaking over the years. You know what I mean? Like social media and stuff. But yeah, good lad.
Let's see around the rest of League One. So Birmingham have made it back to the top. Wycombe still in second place. Wrexham just below them. A little bit of a gap to Huddersfield, Barnsley and Reading. Stockport dropped off a little bit. They're just outside the playoffs. What else has gone on in there? Gary Boyer has come in, hired by Burton. So Gary Boyer was an ex-Bradford manager, one of the nicest people in football, I think, but it didn't really work for him as a manager with us.
No, I mean, we played and we should have won the game comfortably, but obviously we'd messed up early on to be 2-0 down. We dominated the game, but look, fair play. Gary's a nice guy. Good luck to him. You know, he's at obviously a club with bigger expectations now. They got obviously bigger owners, so it'll be interesting. The top of the table, you know, Wycombe obviously want to stay with the pack. Now they've obviously getting what we used to get, where people are in for their better players. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. I think they lost a key piece that was recalled by West Brom, the centre half. So yeah, it'll be an interesting run in. I would still fancy Huddersfield, Birmingham, and either Wycombe or Wrexham or Barnsley to go up as the third one. So yeah, that would be my shouts. And
we kind of covered League Two a little bit. I don't know if you saw in National League, York signed the kid from Wigan, 350,000. Wyman Stones, isn't it?
Yeah, fair play.
That's a fair amount of money for the National League, especially with York. And I mean, York have had a lot of.
Well, they've got a young guy, haven't they, who owns it with his family or whatever, and they've got a few quid.
Last couple of years, they've really been putting money into the club. And
I'll be saying to them, if they want to keep Adji Boy, they'll have to pay his full wages now. No more hometown discounts or whatever else. So if you're spending that kind of cash and you're that ambitious, you know, fair play. So yeah, I mean, that's going to be. I think Barnet and them are kind of duking it out at the top there, and a couple of other clubs. So that'll be an interesting run in. But York have been out of the league for far too long. It'd be great to see them back in the EFL.
And also just in League Two, Carlisle. So Carlisle fans have been shouting for Mike Williamson to be sacked already. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, they're 18 points. They're 6 points adrift at the bottom. They just don't seem to be able to put a win together. I think they've got one in the last 6. And maybe it was square peg in a round hole when Williamson went there with some of the players that they had. And
they made a couple of good signings, I think, in the window.
Yeah, some long contracts as well.
Yeah, because he obviously has a way he wants to play, and maybe they want to play, so they're rebuilding, and obviously they feel they'll get out of it. So, you know, they've got American owners now. It'll be interesting to see. MK Dons did a bit of a good mini run, and then they fell off a bit, and then I think they won again. So I couldn't call who the outside of the top 2. I couldn't maybe call the rest who's going to go up from League Two. It'll be very interesting running, that's for sure.
And I mean, we talked about it all season how close it is. There's just no stand. I mean, Walsall obviously have stood out, but there isn't really anybody else that's standing out. So it's anybody to. It's just who puts a run together, who 100%. Who keeps injury free, and who puts a run together.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I again, no idea. I just hope Bradford are one of the teams that are there.
Hopefully we had the worst of the injuries behind us, but
exactly.
You never really know.
Well, knock on wood. So that's what we need. We need Bradford to get promoted. You know what I mean? We need Posh to get their finger out and have a great second half of the season. And that's where we want 2025 to kind of like be good in the first half of the season.
Yeah. And Jon Coleman for
I saw that.
Gillingham. Mark Bonner got sacked yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, I saw that. It's really funny because the day of the game they lost against Bromley, we'd done a deal for one of our players on loan. And then obviously it got pulled because the manager lost his job the following day. So yeah, be interested. Jon Coleman, he's probably the type they need at the moment in there. I'm not surprised. He's obviously a good manager, been around a long time, a lot of experience, and the Gillingham owner is expecting success, and he didn't get it with Bonner, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
I'm just going to have a look at a couple of questions before we wrap up. We've had the last couple of weeks or so. Jack, who's a Rotherham fan, I'd like to know what DMAC's thoughts on Rotherham are so far this season, and also the pros and cons of signing experienced players opposed to young players with potential. So essentially, what his recruitment has been like under Steve Evans, which obviously, you know, you've gone through that process yourself in the past.
So I'm not qualified to be talking about Rotherham where they are because of where we are.
Yeah.
You know, we've had a very poor first half of the season like they have. And Stevie's expectations would always be promotion, as would Tony Stewart as Rotherham came down. They made a lot of great signings in the summer, a hell of a lot of experience, probably the mirror opposite of us. So at the moment, it hasn't worked out. But I would always say, don't ever write off Steve Evans. So, you know, and Rotherham are a big club in League One. So I'm sure they're like me, are probably looking in the mirror going, what the fuck is going on and how's this happened? So, and their fans probably feel the same. So they won't be, like us, they won't be there for too long.
Quite an interesting question from George. George says, I support a championship club whose retail and catering operations are outsourced. What are Darragh's thoughts on this for a football club? Revenue is naturally lower due to it being third-party operated, but would net profit be much different than if it was in-house?
I'm not a fan of going outside. We've been offered 250 guaranteed grand a year profits for someone to come in and take over all our retail, not commercial, just retail. With our new mega store that we opened over Christmas and we spent a lot of money on, that alone brings in 1.1, 1.2. That's projected to bring in profits, probably 350, 400 on that. So we wouldn't want to not have control of that. Some clubs go down that route because it's a lot easier. It's a lot less headaches now to pay for stock and do all those things. Not for me. We've done it with catering because catering has been a big headache for so long. And we're in a year one of a new catering contract. And my CEO says it's going very well and good results from it. So, yeah, I'm just like hardcore no on doing it with the retail or commercial. We've got the best commercial department in the EFL, in my opinion.
Yeah, we do it with, we for sure at Bradford do it with catering. We have done it with retail in the past. I'm not quite sure where we are with Macron right now, if they're doing, if they're running the shop or whether we're doing that ourselves. Back when we were Nike, before that, we outsourced the whole lot.
Right. So then, no, not for me.
But it kind of goes that we've certainly become a lot smarter the last few years from a commercial perspective, rather than just kind of, as you say, it's the easy route. It's guaranteed revenue, which is good for financial planning, but you're leaving money on the table.
I agree. Bad idea, bad choice.
All right, let's see. Last question from Zach. Are Peterborough a victim of your transfer success? So does Peterborough's good record of signing your hidden gems and then selling them on for big profits mean that selling clubs up their asking price when you come calling?
Yeah, nightmare. We went into a Premier League club for a young winger that was out on loan, hadn't done brilliant on loan, but we felt was a very good future signing. And straight away, they quoted 500 grand, plus the sell on. And the guy who ran the recruitment said, look, the owners have come back and said, it's Peterborough. You got to be careful because if they're coming in for a young player, that means they're going to sell that fucker for millions. Yeah. So let's try and get more. And I'm just like, fucking. So that's happened to us twice in the last 12 months. Once previously with Palace, I think I'd spoken about previous, and the Palace owner, Steve, had told me that was what he was thinking when we made the phone call. It's Barry Fry and MacAnthony. We don't want to undersell a player. So let's put the price up. That's happening up and down. Even if we try and sign a non-league player, it's the same thing. Straight away, the club's adding an extra 100 grand because it's us. So we do fight with that. That has been problematic. So it is what it is. So on that note.
All right. Well, we'll wrap up today. So thank you very much. We were out of questions. And Darragh does have to go and run for a call as well. So we knew that was happening. It's lucky that it happened right at the end of the meeting of the podcast. So with that said, until next time, we'll talk to you all again soon.